You must have heard the question on everyone's lips. Did Canada just ban Tesla? Well, not exactly, but it's close enough to spark a serious trade war. What really happened? Canada's targeting Elon Musk's EV empire with 100% tariffs. This is obviously a bold retaliation against U.S. tariff policies, basically making Tesla cars way more expensive for Canadians. Why is this happening? What's next? How will this end? Continue watching and find out. So here's what actually went down. Canada announced a 100% tariff on electric vehicles imported from the United States. And yes, that includes Teslas, which are one of the most popular EVs in Canada. On top of that, Tesla has been excluded from Canada's EV rebate programs, meaning buyers no longer get federal incentives when purchasing a Tesla. That's a double hit. First, Teslas are now twice as expensive at the border. Second, Canadian customers no longer get a discount to help soften the blow. This means Tesla sales in Canada just got crushed. Now, why is this happening? It all began when the U.S. imposed a 25% tariff on all imports from Canada and Mexico, including electric vehicles and auto parts. This action was justified under emergency powers, citing concerns over the flow of fentanyl into the United States. Canada has since disputed these claims, but really, who knows for sure, especially as Canada isn't a major contributor to fentanyl trafficking. However, in response, Canada announced its own 25% retaliatory tariffs on goods made in the U.S., notably targeting electric vehicles. This move directly impacts American automakers like Tesla, Ford, and General Motors, making their vehicles more expensive in the Canadian market. These tariffs are termed retaliatory because they're a direct response to the U.S. tariffs. Canada is looking to pressure the United States into reconsidering its trade policies by imposing equivalent duties on American products, thereby leveling the playing field and protecting its own economic interests. Is it purely an economic battle, or is it political too? Why is Elon Musk and Tesla seemingly taking most of the brunt? Elon Musk has been vocal about his support for American-first policies, especially those that benefit Tesla's manufacturing and battery supply chains. His alignment with Trump's trade strategies and his cozy relationship with current U.S. policymakers makes Tesla a perfect target for Canada's retaliation. And this isn't the first time both countries have had a tariff face-off. The U.S. and Canada have clashed before: softwood lumber, dairy, aluminum, you name it. But this seems to be getting more messy than previous battles. Historically, Canada and the U.S. have had one of the friendliest, most stable trade partnerships in the world. We're talking billions in goods crossing the border every single day. But this latest tariff tit for tat is reopening old wounds. And it's not just about trade policy, it's also about trust. Canada feels blindsided by the U.S. invoking national emergency powers to justify tariffs, and retaliating is their way of saying they're not going to roll over for anyone, not even longtime partners. Tesla, Ford, GM, all of these companies don't operate in a vacuum. A single EV might be designed in California, assembled in Mexico, and powered by a battery made in Quebec. That's the strength and the weakness of a deeply integrated North American supply chain. By slapping a 100% tariff on US-made EVs, Canada isn't just affecting American car makers. It's impacting Mexican manufacturers, Canadian suppliers, and even small businesses in between that contributes to the EV ecosystem. And here's where it gets even more interesting, because what Canada just did might be the first domino in a much bigger global pushback against US protectionism. Let's break it down. For years now, countries around the world have quietly grumbled about how the U.S. uses tariffs like a hammer. Sometimes it's over steel, sometimes it's dairy, sometimes it's tech, and more often than not, those tariffs come dressed up as national security measures, even when the connection is obviously not clear. Now enter Canada, which is usually the nice neighbor, the polite one at the trade table. But this time, Canada rolled up its sleeves and refused to play nice anymore. And the world took notice. There are tensions between the European Union and the U.S. over electric vehicle subsidies and digital taxes. Japan and South Korea have also been trying to navigate the U.S. chip export restrictions that hurt their own industries. Australia? Let's not forget how they had to tiptoe around U.S.-China trade tensions while trying to protect their own interests. These countries have all had their moments with the U.S., but most chose diplomacy over drama. Until now. By going after Tesla, which is a high-profile, made-in-America brand that everyone recognizes, Canada didn't just retaliate, it scattered the negotiating table. Because if other nations see that Canada stood up to the US and didn't get steamrolled, you can bet some are thinking that they should stop playing nice too. If that happens, if countries like Germany, France, Japan, or even Mexico decide to follow Canada's lead, it could trigger a wave of coordinated pushbacks against American trade practices. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. The world is in the middle of massive transitions. Climate change, clean energy, AI, supply chain rebalancing. Cooperation and smooth trade is needed, but every time the US hits the tariff button for political reasons, it's not just causing economic disruption, it's also undermining trust. Allies start second-guessing partnerships, countries shift investments, global deals get delayed or derailed altogether. And for what? A quick political win? A stronger hand in a trade negotiation? Let's go back a little. Remember the softwood lumber dispute? That fight has been dragging on for over 40 years. Seriously. 4 decades of tariffs, counter-tariffs, arbitration panels, appeals, and finger-pointing. The US is accusing Canada of unfairly subsidizing its lumber industry. Canada says it's because they're efficient, and round it goes. Then there were the steel and aluminum tariffs in 2019. President Trump invoked national security to justify them, which Canada found deeply offensive. I mean, imagine calling your closest ally a national security threat. That move sparked retaliatory tariffs from Canada on everything from ketchup to Harley-Davidsons, and it took months of intense negotiation to walk that back. Which brings us to the big question. Is this just a short-term political jab or the start of a long-term shift in how these two countries do business? Honestly, it could go either way. If the US backs off its controversial tariffs and things cool down, this might just be remembered as a high-profile spat that made headlines for a few weeks and shook up the EV market a bit. And hey, the markets are already feeling it. Just look at Tesla's stock. On April 17, 2025, TSLA closed at $240.85 USD. That's less than half its year high of $488.53. That kind of drop isn't just about Elon's tweets or delivery numbers. Investors are worried. Global tensions, tariff hits, and subsidy bans are painting Tesla as ground zero in this trade war. But if Canada's move inspires other countries to start pushing back, or if the US doubles down and retaliates even harder, then we could be looking at a much bigger reordering of trade alliances. In the end, this isn't just about Tesla or tariffs. It's about a shift in how countries respond to US economic muscle flexing. Canada's bold move might be the spark that lights a global fire of trade wars. Whether it cools off or explodes, one thing's for sure: everyone is watching. If you found this breakdown insightful, hit that like button, subscribe for more global trade drama, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Whose move is next? Stay tuned, the ride is far from over.